Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Vero Beach. We are so pleased that all of you have joined us on this first Sunday in December. We are a community, as the graphic said, of open hearts, open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. People seeking to become our best individual selves as together we make this world a better place. And please know that you are welcome precisely as you come to us in all of your human particularity and charm. Everyone in this room brings a different self to this worship, and we're glad you are here. We hope that you will find something here this morning that you find enriching and that will make your life better and more dignified and joyful in the days ahead. Poet Brian Andreas brings you these opening words. It's not what you first think. There is no effort of will, no firm resolve in this thing called living. There is only paying attention to the quiet each morning while you hold your cup in the cool air, and then that moment you choose to spread your love like a cloth upon the table and invite the whole day in again.
Good morning. Will you please join me in the kindling of the chalice as printed in your program? With faith to face our challenges, with love that casts out fear, with hope to trust tomorrow, we accept this day as the gift that it is, a reason for rejoicing.
So our theme today is pain and how to live with it, and Bobby and I have two readings to share with you on that subject. Bobby is first.
This poem is The Pain of Pain by Justin Monaco Barnes. How do you know how pain really feels? How do you know when pain gets healed? Is it a feeling like that built in the brain? Links of emotions, stranded by a chain. If one could describe the feeling of pain on a page, would the words come out or remain locked in a cage? What distinguishes the feeling from good to bad? Who knows the feelings that turn you from happy to sad? What hurts? What doesn't? How do you know? People hurt. People heal. Where do you go? Why does losing someone you care for break your heart? Fill your chest with pain, piercing you from far like a dart. When one gets hurt, why do you cry? When one gets hurt, why do you hide? Running from your problems may solve them then, but what will you do when they happen again? For some pain, there is a cure. For some, there are not. Some treatments are pure, but the memory of pain has just been forgotten.
And the second reading by, I guess it's Shaw. No one wants to face pain. Pain is terrifying. Trust me, I know. It probably had you convinced that it was normal or that you were just being dramatic, that no one would care even if you told them. But that's wrong, because that's the only way to fight pain. You have to stand up to it. What, you ask? I can't fight that by myself. Exactly. No one can fight their pain alone. That is where people come in. If you want to fight the pain, you'll need all the help you can get. Friends, family, loved ones. Tell them, and they will help you in your fight. But they can't fight it for you. They can help. But you have to be the one to face the pain. Find out where it came from and face it. and only then will you see where the pain comes from. Now that you have found its core, you must face it. It could be a small little thing that you would never think could hurt someone, or it could be something much, much worse. It's always different. What's mine, you ask? I don't know. I haven't found mine yet, and that's because I'm unwilling to look. Like I said, it's not easy. It's never easy to face pain. But you have to, or it will only grow. And once you defeat the pain, it won't go away. It will always be there. But with help and a strong will, you can keep it from growing. After that, you will look around and see that almost everyone has a pain that they are trying so hard to hide. Now it's your turn. You've got to help beat your pain, so now you must do that. You got help to beat your pain, so now you must do the same. Help others find and defeat their pain. And if you do help someone with their pain, and they win, it will be worth it to see them finally free of their pain. You will know that you have helped, and maybe even saved a life. That is what is at stake. Some people lose to their pain, but that's not the end. The pain doesn't go away with the person. The pain never dies, remember? It will spread to everyone that the victim knows or cares about. It will be even stronger than before and harder to face. I hope beyond hope that no one you know loses to their pain. But you must remember that if they do, it is not your fault. It is not their fault either. It's no one's fault except the pain's. Here ends the morning reading. Well, to get us started this morning, I'm going to let you in on a little but not terribly surprising ministerial secret. Every once in a while on Sunday, I preach to you about an issue that I myself am personally struggling with. That is certainly the case this morning when Bobby and I address the topic of living with pain. Because the simple truth is that both your minister, that would be me, has aged over the last almost 8 years I have been here with you in Vero Beach. And as a consequence, I have had personally to tolerate an ever-increasing level of physical aches and pain in my life. Aches and pains which have recently gotten my physical and spiritual attention. Similarly, Bobby, back there in the shadows, has a variety of physical injuries from her years of military service, has also been living with ever-increasing level of bodily pain and discomfort in her life. Now, we tell you all this morning not to seek your sympathy or pity. We don't really want or need either. And besides, our aches and pains, Bobby and mine, are nothing really extraordinary in the human realm of things, but rather we tell you this to set the stage for our shared conversation this morning about the universal human experience of finding ways to successfully, and that's the key word here, to successfully live with physical pain. It is frankly Bobby and my's hope that by focusing on this universal human topic this morning, we ourselves might gain some additional understanding and insight as to how we can personally learn to live with pain in a more constructive, adaptive, and spiritual way. And a quick but important aside here this morning. We are focusing this morning on how to live successfully mostly with physical bodily pain. But we also know that some of you suffer in your lives from emotional or psychological pain, which can be just as debilitating and harrowing as the physical. The good news is that many of the tips and strategies for successfully dealing with physical bodily pain also apply to emotional or psychological pain. So keep that in mind as you listen this morning. All right, so I beg your indulgence to let Bobby and me each take just a moment to describe the kind of physical pain that we are each experiencing. I'll go first. You might think my 2 artificial knees would give me trouble. They're fine. My problem is in my back and spine and neck. A few weeks ago, after 2 trips to the emergency room because of nearly unanswerable pain in my neck and shoulders and moving to my head, I could neither sleep nor drive nor get comfortable in any position. I was diagnosed by a neurologist as having pretty significant spinal degeneration, which involves a combination of degenerated and, in a couple of cases, disappeared discs, significant arthritis, and inflamed nerves, which sometimes causes me pretty intense and unpleasant pain. This pain is particularly noticeable when I first get up in the morning or if I sit at long periods of time in front of my computer, which I think is a message. Don't spend so much time in front of the computer. If it weren't for my job, I wouldn't. My doctor tells me that despite whatever non-invasive and palliative treatments might help somewhat, massage, physical therapy, yoga, hot baths, and the like, I'll be living with this spinal degeneration and its pain for the rest of my life. So, Bobby, what's your tale of woe?
I have endured over 22 years of military service, running every other day, 25-mile ruck march every year. And rucks are those huge packs, and when they put sandbags in them to make sure you have the weight correctly, you don't get to cheat. Jumping out of helicopters on huge rocks on forward operating bases in Afghanistan and Iraq. I was injured in 1997, ground guiding a parking Humvee. I got pinned by the vehicle, both by my hip and my leg. So I had knee surgeries. I had 6 total before I had a knee replacement. I had a broken ankle, broken right wrist at the same time, dislocated my right shoulder. I have endured painful shots in my back for nerve pain. Had a spinal fusion in 2015 of L3, 4, and 5 because L3 decided to go forward and pinch all of my nerves. And as a result of that, I have severe back spasms that feel like someone is slowly pushing a sword through my rib cage. I have lived with pain for over 17 years.
You're a bigger wreck than I am. Jesus. Yikes. All right, so both Bobby and I have pain issues that have gotten our physical and spiritual attentions. Let me now see a show of hands. How many of you would say that physical pain is a significant issue in your life right now? Just raise your hands. A significant issue in your life. All right. I guarantee the rest of you that if you live long enough, it will be a significant issue for every one of us at different times, hopefully different times. So pain is a regular life issue. I know for a fact that a handful of you, bless your hearts, for a handful of you, physical pain towers above all other challenges, life challenges that you face, and makes your lives a real struggle, both physically and emotionally, day after day after day. No one should minimize the power that pain can have over some of our lives. And for those of you for whom chronic pain looms large over your life, please know that you have our full understanding and sympathy and support. And the truth is, of course, that all of us, as our bodies age, become more vulnerable, as I've said, to physical aches and pains of all sorts. And some of us, as I have just observed, experience chronic and debilitating pain on a regular basis. So I think it's safe to say that the topic of learning how to live successfully with pain is both universal and important. And let me begin our exploration of how pain works and what can be done about it with this chart that I found online. Pain affects all of these areas of our life. It affects our energy level. It affects how we sleep, and sleep is so important to holistic health. It, of course, affects our mood, and it reduces activity or affects activity. And the thing about this is that you see the arrows between these things, that each dimension of how pain affects us contributes and builds on the other. So it is a kind of a systematic problem that makes it hard for us to stay active and cheerful and well rested and in a good mood. It's a very dynamic situation. And here's another helpful but similarly maybe alarming document, a diagram. The pain cycle the pain itself, then you guard against the pain by anticipating it. Muscle spasm is an inflammation result. You have restricted mobility because you don't want to cause the pain to happen. You have weakness, loss of normal function, and then the emotional stuff comes along, the anger, frustration, and helplessness. And so, again, each way that pain affects us kind of feeds on and builds on the other. So how can we best manage and control pain so that our lives, and this is important, will not get significantly diminished or distracted by pain? Well, let's start the conversation with the availability of pain-killing drugs. We all know that the pharmaceutical industry, for better and for worse, has provided us with a whole host of medications and treatments that can either mask or diminish or kill altogether most of the pain we are experiencing. Now, surely we should all be abundantly thankful that the scientists have developed powerful drugs that can help us at critical junctures eliminate the pain that we experience. Personally, I cannot imagine having gone through either of my knee operations, knee replacement surgeries, without the amazing help of the opioid drugs. I got off them as quick as I could, but oh Jesus, thank you. Let's go to La La Land for a few days, you know? But of course you all know that these powerful and effective drugs can and do lead to a great deal of overuse and abuse. It's been all over the media, as you know. They can have terrible, deadly consequences. It was a little more than a year ago on October 18th of last year that I preached a sermon from this pulpit called America All Doped Up and Down, which talked about the great issue. You know, we're 4% of the world's population, and we use 80% of the pain-killing drugs. And this nation is caught in the grip of this. President Trump just a few weeks ago declared a national public health emergency, which sadly was one step short of declaring an official national emergency declaration, which would have come with funding. So he noted the problem without funding it. But in any case, something, I guess, is better than nothing. At least the president is paying some attention to this. And now the sad truth is that drug overdoses, mostly from prescription opioids, but also from street heroin, are the leading cause of accidental death in the United States. Last year, well over 64,000 Americans died from drug overdoses. That's about 200 every day, several of which sadly occurred in families directly connected to this congregation last year. So it is not a problem that just other weaker people have. It ravages every aspect of American life and every community and every economic, social, and educational strata. I think it goes without saying that while opioid and other painkillers have an important place in the successful management of human pain, we must, for our own long-term safety and well-being, restrict and limit the use of these powerful drugs to only situations where they are our only effective treatment option. And we must hold doctors and hospitals and pharmacies accountable to make sure that these drugs are dispensed only with strict and careful controls that will protect public safety. The bottom line is that right now, Americans widely abuse painkillers. As I say, we comprise only 4.6% of the world's population, but consume 80% of the world's painkiller. And these painkillers are really killing us. So it seems clear that while we need to employ opioid pain management when appropriate in situations of genuine physical discomfort, we also need to be smart and find other less damaging and dangerous ways to effectively alleviate our pain. In my own pain situation, 3 months ago, I was prescribed a twice daily dose of a painkiller. I've taken one in 3 months because I don't want to be on painkillers every 12 hours. It will make me dopey. And when I'm dopey, I'm not a good minister. Trust me. And luckily, and sleepy too. I don't want to be sleepy at my desk. And luckily for all of us, there's a great deal of sound research and practical information about the effective alternatives to pharmacological pain management. And you all got an insert today. I hope you will take it home with you. And if you haven't already read through it, these are 2 different lists from the web. And on the back, I connect you to 2 other web resources with a whole host of more detailed information about strategies for dealing with pain in a non-pharmaceutical way. For example, if you don't know what biofeedback is, you can read more about biofeedback in these websites. And I want to briefly go over these lists. Can the first one be put up? Again, 11 practical tips. This is from mostly WebMD. Deep breathing or meditation, like the pig showed you this morning. Reducing the stress of your life. Exercise, endorphins. Exercise helps with all kinds of pain. If you're depressed or if you're having trouble walking because of arthritis, you need to get out and walk, even though it hurts sometimes. Moderate alcohol consumption, all right, but not excessive alcohol consumption. Join a support group, obviously. Don't smoke, goes without saying. Eating a healthy diet, and I would add by that maintaining a healthy weight. Track your pain and activity levels. Pay attention to your body. Learn biofeedback techniques, and I'm not going to talk about that today, but you can read about biofeedback techniques. There are a lot of them. Get massages from a good massage therapist. There are lots of alternatives, lots of massage therapists here in town, many of whom are, of course, certified and really know what they're doing. Eat a healthy diet, that goes without saying. And then the last tip is don't focus on your pain. Distract yourself. And now Bobby's going to go over briefly the second list which I provided.
Keep in mind the peaceful piggy. Find quiet. Whether it's in your home, outside in nature, find quiet. Just breathe. Take a deep breath in, hold it, and then release it. Listen to music. Lose yourself in prayer. And there are many different ways of praying. I do a silent meditative prayer where I sit in quiet. I breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 7 seconds, release it for 8 seconds. And during that time, I pay attention to what I'm hearing around me in the quiet or in nature under my tree. Reflect in nature. Get out in nature. There has been research done that proves that being in nature reduces your stress level, promotes good hormones in your body. And like me, laugh more. Laugh. It's the best medicine. Reach out to others. If you see someone else going through pain or a difficult situation, reach out to them. Be there for them. Because by giving, we receive. Live in the light. Take care of yourself, value yourself, and never lose hope.
The important thing for all of us to know and trust and understand this morning is that there are all kinds, and I've just suggested some of them, of non-pharmacological, non-addictive techniques, physical, mental, and spiritual, that can help you live and live successfully with whatever physical pain you are dealing with. Now, as I hope is obvious, not all of these widely varying techniques in the insert will work in any particular pain management situation that you might personally be facing, especially if it's severe. I know that some of you with chronic pain have tried a lot of these things, and some of them just don't work. Each person's pain situation is different and variable, and we are all unique individuals who will respond differently to different techniques or not respond to all or some of them. What is important here is, I think, the following. What is important is that in each individual pain management situation we face, there are always some non-drug alternatives available to help us manage and alleviate the pain, always. And we need to be willing to develop a pain management plan for ourselves that will work. Be willing to experiment with different techniques and strategies, and then stick with what works for us. It's like that poem, the first poem, where he said, only you can face your pain. You have to have a plan, a marching plan for yourself, if you will. Let me personally share that I use a wide variety of non-pharmacological strategies and techniques to manage and reduce my back, neck, and spine and joint problem. Here's some of the ways that I manage my pain. First, I take a jacuzzi bath every morning and then at night with Dr. Teal's lavender-flavored Epsom salt. Nothing better. Publix sells it over the counter. It's just great stuff. I turn on the jets and try to relax. I regularly use one of those microwave beanbag heating devices to put on my neck or spine if I'm having pain while reading or watching television to get relaxed. I get plenty of sleep. That's a key. You know, the federal government now acknowledges everyone needs 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And I know how to relax in the evening, usually by watching a little mindless television, if I can find it, and turning off Rachel Maddow, who's a little too intense for me. I'd much rather watch some dopey cop show than hear once more about what trouble we're in the nation. And I think part of relaxing is, you know, if you watch 6 hours of MSNBC or CNN every night and you have chronic neck pain, you're going to go to bed like this. These are tough times, I'll tell you. Holy mackerel. And I'm not going to pick on anybody in particular. I get a professional massage pretty much on a weekly basis. I do what I can to eat right and drink moderately and maintain approximate healthy body weight, which I believe really helps overall. I stay just as active as I can, refusing to let my aches and pains keep me off my bike or keep me from walking. And I get out in nature as Bobby does to let the beauty and calm of nature work its magic on my heart and soul. The reason I don't use a stationary bike is that when I'm out biking through the community, I see pelicans diving and dolphins swimming and the clouds. I notice every nuance. It's a form of mindfulness that relaxes me. So I guess you might say that my personal pain management program is staying physically and mentally active, pampering my body with as much relaxation as I can, and paying attention to the balance and rhythm and moderation. Moderation is a virtue of every day. So Bobby, that's how I manage what ails me, and I want to have her talk just a little bit about her management, pain management plan.
As I said, I practice a meditative breathing. And the science behind this, it really does reset your brain, reset your body. I breathe in on a count of 4. I hold to a count of 7, release to a count of 8. I do slow stretching. I stand with my feet about a foot apart, and I just bend slowly and let my back relax. I can feel my muscles relaxing. Laughter. I will read joke books, watch funny videos on YouTube of animals and puppies and kittens and baby rats and squirrels and have a blast. Nature is very, very healing. I go out and sit underneath my oak tree, for which I have a feeding station. I feed squirrels, birds. I have 2 sandhill cranes that come and eat twice a day. And so I sit out there with them. I talk to them, and they listen. The squirrels do too. Sometimes I go over to the lake by the college near my home, and I watch the turtles and the fish, and sometimes the alligators too. There's a beautiful wooded trail that starts behind the park and goes around the lake in the woods and comes out by the planetarium. And I will go in there and I will stop and I will listen to the woods, listen to the birds, watch the nature that I see. And I come out to the planetarium and I sit there by the lake and do contemplative prayer. I smell the woods, listen to the birds, smell the water. I experience nature. Sometimes I go out and get into Silver Bullet, my truck, and take a slow drive down River Road. It is a beautiful, beautiful drive, and it's calming. Once a week, I have chiropractic care as well as acupuncture. I use ice, heat. I sometimes use Bengay sports gel. I also have a brace if I need to. I do also have a cream that's Salonpas. It has a little bit of lidocaine in it. I'll use over-the-counter creams for my back.
So there you have how we manage and live with our pain that personally belongs to Bobby and me. It goes without saying that as the two of us age, our pain levels will change and challenge us in new and perhaps even more demanding ways. The point here, I think, is that no matter what kind or level of pain any of us do or do not experience, we all have quite a toolkit of viable spiritual, emotional, and physical options at our non-pharmacological options at our disposal. And the only way to discover if these techniques and strategies help you live and live joyfully and well with your pain is to try them and experiment with them and try them in different combinations and in different intensities and give them a chance to work their power on your body. Here's the bottom line. To be human is sooner or later to know pain. I pray that next time pain comes into your life, that you will accept its reality as well as a part of life, and then calmly, or at least as calmly as you can, bring all of your spiritual and emotional resources to this encounter with pain. Do not deny the pain. Face it. Bring your full self to the encounter. I take it on faith that almost always we can find some way to move with or through our pain, and to find that path that allows us to continue to enjoy and treasure the great gift of life that is ours. And finally, these words from American Unitarian Universalist poet May Sarton. Help us to bring darkness into the light, to lift out the pain, the anger where it can be seen for what it is, the balance wheel for our vulnerable, aching love.
Put the wild hunger where it belongs, within the act of creation. Crude power that forges a balance between hate and love.
Help us to be always hopeful gardeners of the Spirit who know that without darkness, nothing comes to birth.
And without light, nothing flowers.
Go peacefully into your lives.